Hey YouTube, how you doing? My name is Matt Baker, and this is my very first episode of Homerun Baker. I hope it's something that you guys subscribe to in the years to come. Some of you will probably be clicking on this to go, hey, let's see how he started. It's going to be very raw because this is it's out of my element. My other channel is completely different. This is, to me, my passion and my hobby. This is something that I've been doing since, well, for decades, let's just say. And for me, it has to do with baseball card collecting. And for me, baseball card collecting, it's more of an emotional state of remembering when I was a kid, and I'm sure it might be the same for you as well, of finding cards and having a connection with them, whether it's your team, like the Oakland A's, the team I grew up with, or any other team that you enjoy. You have a connection with that team or that certain player. Well, that's where this channel is going to be. I am going to focus on specific players, whether they're past, present, or even minor leaguers, and we're going to focus maybe one or two players a week. And those players, I'm going to break down, not their stats of the player, but I'm going to break down the card. So the card that you're looking for, if it's a specific player, I'm going to tell you what their rookie card is. If it's an autograph card, what it costs on eBay, currently, of course, what it costs on eBay, and just give you that kind of information. I'm also going to, hopefully, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Topps.com has cards that I like, that I order from all the time. On Wednesdays, it's called the Living Set. So I'm going to make a short on Wednesdays of the current card from the Living Set. And on Thursdays, Throwback Thursday. On Thursdays, obviously. So that's basically what this channel is going to be about. Now, going forward, I'm not going to really talk about my collection personally. I have a huge collection. I have been collecting for decades, and I've had a couple of friends in the past, and most recently my friend John and his wife, and they had said, you know, I'm going to break it down. It's basically, I was talking about, he was asking, hey, what are you doing today? I said, oh, I'm just kind of messing with some cards. He goes, you have a lot of cards, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. I've been collecting for decades. And I've probably got millions upon millions of cards. And I collect every single day since my childhood, basically. That's astronomical amounts of cards. I've got some stored in my sister's garage. I've got some here in this small, tiny apartment. I've got some in a storage unit. I've got collections upon collections. I've got autographed baseballs of players that I've met personally and ones that have passed. I've got tickets to no-hitters. I've got a no-hitter ticket collection. I've got pack collection. I've got unopened box collection. I've got basically every unopened Bowman baseball box when they first came back in 1989. That's a lot of boxes. And I still buy them. I don't open them. I have boxes just unopened. So today is kind of going to be about my collection. Now, I'm not going to show you everything, but I kind of want to bring you up to speed on where I started collecting. And the reason why I have my daughter Elizabeth here with me is because I think a collection, especially like a baseball card collection, is something that you pass on to your children. Now, I remember my dad, he said that he had a lot of cards when he was young. Now we're talking, my dad was born in 1932. So he had a lot of pretty cool cards. He had some Babe Ruths. I don't know, I think the old story of my mom threw them out, they were in a shoebox. I think that really happened to my dad. But I remember him talking about a player years ago when he was still alive, he had said, oh yeah, I had talked to him about baseball cards. I remember this one player was Archie Vaughan, and it was, I think it was like a 1940 baseball. It was black and white. It was really cool. And I went and found one on eBay, and I gave it to him as a Christmas present. And that was really cool for me because that was one that he had remembered. He didn't remember some of the other ones, but I pass along to Elizabeth all my card collection someday. Good luck with that, sweetheart. But so she's here to help me, and we're just going to kind of take a look at some of the stuff I have, and the name of this channel being Homerun Baker, or Homerun Baker, is that what I'm calling it?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Homerun Baker?
Yes.
She's right. It is called Homerun Baker. Okay, so my last name is Baker. When I got into cards, I started to learn more and more. Now okay, we're going to back up. We're going to back up for a second. Hold on here. I remember collecting in the 1970s. I don't remember 72, 73, 74 as much, but I do remember 1975 vividly because the colors were so bright, and then they came out with smaller versions. And I was like, that's the coolest thing. It's a small version of the normal size cards. I couldn't believe it, and I was hooked. In 1975, that's a long time ago, but I'm going to show you here real quick. So, I also have a rack pack collection. So, this one's a little on the pricey side. This is a rack pack. Here, why don't we turn this on? Okay, now show some of these cards, honey. This is some cards from 1975. Of course, anything that had an Oakland A's player on the front of the card, I had to have it, of course. So this was a 1975 rack pack, never been opened. I still collected, but not as much. It was just kind of, I remember cards, I remember players, I remember Steve Carlton, I remember Tug McGraw, cool name, Tug. This was 1978. This is the 1978 rack pack. I liked 78. Look, here we go. We got two A's in this one. 1, 2. I liked 78 because it had this very cursive movement in the cards and on the front of the card. I just something about that cursive I really enjoyed. Then in 1980, a rookie had come up. And this rookie was named Rickey Henderson. And I remember going to a candy shop in Danville, in the town I grew up in, and getting some 1980 packs and opening them up and seeing his card. There's an Oakland A's player, and it's his rookie card, and his name is Rickey Henderson, and flipped it over, and he stole a lot of bases. And me, as a kid, I was very fast. I was a fast-running kid. And so I gravitated towards Rickey Henderson. Here is a 1980 rack pack, unopened. We're going to show this here. We don't have any A's on here, but we do have a Bob Welch who eventually did play for the A's. Do I have any A's on the back? Terry Kennedy, Dave Edwards, future stars. No, I do not. I do have many, many Rickey Henderson rookie cards because he was my guy. In fact, I collected all of Rickey's Topps cards from 1980. In fact, I have the 1979 Ogden minor league card that's graded. But I have every Rickey Henderson card produced by Topps and by Bowman because he was my guy. I'm just going to throw this in here, given that I am an Oakland A's fan, anything that was Oakland A's related, I had to have. So I got this jersey a long time ago. It's Mark McGwire jersey, and had a chance to have Mark sign it for me. So I had Mark sign this for me. To Matt, a devoted A's fan. Mark McGwire. I have tons of A's stuff. Tons of it. And so in this place that we're at here, I don't have a ton of room. So I don't know where everything is. But I know that I have a 2002 Moneyball bat that's signed by the entire team. So let me see what else we've got here. We're just going to show you some more A's stuff. We've got a team signed ball of the Oakland A's, 1969. This is everybody on that team. Bert Campaneris, Reggie Jackson. Then we have the 1972 World Series ball that, they won their first world championship as the Oakland Athletics in 1972. Just going to show you a few here of some of the collectible that I have, because it's all about bats, balls, and gloves, right? Bats, balls, and gloves. So I've got Ted Williams. We've got Willie Mays. We've got Hank Aaron. We've got Mickey Mantle. Whoops, got poor lighting there. Mickey Mantle. And this particular one, Joe DiMaggio. Now, this Joe DiMaggio obviously was an Oakland Athletic. However, if you know the Oakland Athletics, Joe DiMaggio actually coached for the Oakland A's, which is really cool. But I was at the Cow Palace for an autograph show back in, I want to say, the early 90s. And Joe DiMaggio was there and headlining the autographs. So I was there. I have it on video someplace, the old 8mm Super 8. And I was standing in line, and I walked up, and I handed him the ball, and he looked at me, and I said, "It is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. DiMaggio." I stuck my hand out, and I shook his hand, and he signed my ball for me. Here it is here. He signed my ball for me, and I walked away starstruck. That was Joe DiMaggio. It was unbelievable that I actually had a chance to meet and shake Joe DiMaggio's hand. These other guys, Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Ted Williams, I never got a chance to meet them. I did purchase their autographs. Those are all legit autographs. But I didn't get a chance to meet them. But the Joe DiMaggio, I did. That was awesome. Met Ricky Henderson many times. Had him sign many things for me. This one here, this one is kind of special. I got this one in 1996. I think it was 96. Was it 96?
I don't know.
Okay. I want to say I think it was 1996. And Mark McGuire's promoter had a baseball card shop. And so he had many items that had come in from a collector in New York that he knew personally. Now I'm going to put this on pause for 1 second, and I want to check to see where I'm at on this. Okay, not only did I have to check my battery, but I had to double check, and sure enough, I found the original receipt. So it was May 24th, 1994. This is amazing. So I had gone into this guy's baseball card shop that I had gone to many times. And he had said, hey, I want to show you some really cool stuff that I've got. It's this collector that had an estate in New York. I bought all of his stuff. He was a huge New York Yankees fan, a big collector in New York of the Yankees. And I just wanted to show you some of the things that I got. And I said, great. Showed me some bats, showed me some balls, some gloves. And he showed me Lou Gehrig cards. He showed me a Lou Gehrig autograph. He showed me a Babe Ruth autographed baseball. It was on a Pacific Coast League ball, and it was signed right in the sweet spot, Babe Ruth. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And he goes, I asked him, I said, are you interested in selling any of these things? And he goes, for the right price, what are you interested in any of these? And I go, wow, that Babe Ruth is really cool. And he said, yeah, he goes, it's on a Pacific Coast League ball. He goes, it's not a traditional American League baseball. He said, but it is still pretty cool. And I said, man, that's amazing. Now, he quoted me a price. I cannot remember how much that was. This was 1994, mind you. Things were a little cheaper back then. He said, I've got something else that's really cool. I don't know if I want to let it go. And I said, okay, show it to me. And he pulled out a baseball that was pre-1930. So it had the red and blue stitching in it. And it had Babe Ruth's autograph on it. But it was off to the side a little bit. So it wasn't in the sweet spot. It was off to the side. Babe was in quotations. which he said at the time, his name was Babe Ruth. Well, it's George Herman Ruth. But he started going by Babe, and he was putting his name Babe in quotations early in his career. He eventually just got rid of the quotations and just signed Babe Ruth. So it's a very early signature of Babe Ruth. And I was like, well, show it to me, right? So he shows it to me, and I absolutely just, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, Babe Ruth held this in his hand. This is amazing. How much do you want for this? I remember he said $5,000. $5,000 in 1994 was a pretty good chunk of change. And I said, wow, that's quite a bit. I said, but thank you for showing it to me. Now, I had some money that was given to me by my aunt when I was young, and it was sitting in a savings account. Of course, you know, Mr. Baseball fan here is thinking all along, I don't have $5,000, but what if I made him an offer in cash? Would he accept it? So I came back a couple days later, and I said, you still have that ball? And he said, of course I do. I said, okay. Would you accept $3,500 in cash? And he said, let me think about it. And I said, okay. And he thought about it for that day. Maybe I had gone in the next day or day after, and he had said, are you still interested in that ball? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, you're serious? And I said, I am dead serious. And he said, you got a deal, $3,500 in cash. We shook on it. We have a receipt. We have a certificate of authenticity. And I have right here a pre-1930 American League Baseball signed by George Herman Babe Ruth. Okay, so here's the ball. American League Baseball, pre-1930, reach. Okay, that reach is going to come into play here real quick. There's the autograph, in quotations, Babe Ruth. And you can see on the ball, which I'm going to attempt to take out, if I can remember how to open this. This was always a tricky, there it is. Okay. I'm just going to hold it by the seams. It smells old. It's amazing to hold this ball. But if you look close, let's see if I can get this. If you look close, you can see, oh, the lighting is not great, the scratches of the quill pen when he signed it. Now, this is the interesting part. So, I'm going to put this back. Here, smell this.
It smells sweaty.
Smells sweaty? Smells sweaty. It's old. It's very old. So,
It's really sweaty.
it's really sweaty. So, going back in there, excited that I purchased this Babe Ruth ball. And he asked me, so, do you still have that ball? This was a couple weeks later. You still have that ball? And I said, of course I have that ball. He said, I might want it back. And I said, why would you want it back? He said, because I just learned that that ball is potentially a home run ball from Babe Ruth. And it was signed by Babe after the game. And I was like, are you effing kidding me? And he's like, no. Do you want to sell it back? And I said, nope, don't want to sell it back. Yeah, you can tell on this ball that it has been rubbed down by the dirt at that time, which means it was a game-used ball, and it was probably hit by Babe Ruth. We'll never know. We'll never know. I don't have documentation that says it is, and I don't think that authenticator. An authenticator is obviously going to know that that's a Babe Ruth signed ball. I can get it authenticated tomorrow. I haven't done it. But we'll never know if it was a home run ball. But he said he learned that it was. And that just blows me away that I have a home run ball from Babe Ruth. That's my collection. No, this is not all my collection. This is just some of the prize things that I cherish. In fact, okay, so we're going to get into here real quick. The reason this channel is called Homerun Baker. My last name is Baker, right? And I had learned about Frank Baker when I was collecting, and I thought, wow, that's cool. His last name was Baker, and he was Homerun Baker. Why was he Homerun Baker? Well, I think over his career, he hit 307, okay? He was a good hitter. He played for the Philadelphia A's, which was another draw. Hey, here's a Baker who played for the A's. And he played for the A's. He also played for the New York Yankees. But when he played for the A's, they went to the World Series in 1910 against the Cubs. And they beat the Cubs in the 1910 World Series. I actually, and there's another thing where I don't know where it is, but I have it. I have a ticket from one of the games from 1910 World Series that Frank Baker had played in. So I have a ticket from there, and it's authenticated and everything. I don't know where it is. I've got it someplace. But in 1911, Frank Baker had gone to the World Series against the Giants. And I want to say it was Game 2. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a link below to an MLB link. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up here. Give me a second. So I pulled it up. MLB.com will have this. How a player named Homerun only hit 96 home runs. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. You guys can read it yourself. But they're asking, how can a guy who only hit 96 home runs over his entire career have a nickname of Homerun Baker? Obviously, you had the Sultan of SWAT. You had, hey, Say Hey Kid. You had Hammer and Hank. Okay, so you had these guys, right, that hit all these home runs, and he didn't really hit that many. I was right. He hit 307. Look at that. He played 13 years in the league, and it was 1911. I was right about that. 1911. He hit 11 home runs. Now, that wasn't the reason he got his name, Homerun Baker. It was in Game 2 of the World Series. So in Game 2 of the World Series here, I'm just going to read this here real quick. Game 2 at Shibe Park was the pitcher's duel. Hold on one second. We got a cuckoo going. Okay, sorry about that. I had a cuckoo. Game 2 at Shibe Park was a pitcher's duel between two Hall of Famers. Philadelphia's Eddie Plank and New York's Rube Marcaud. The A's were trailing in the series, having dropped the opener in the Polo Grounds, and Chief Bender was outdueled by Christy Matheson, which oddly enough, his nickname was Matty. That was my nickname growing up. In fact, some people still call me Matty. Matty, yep. So he was obviously, Frank Baker was a third baseman. Well, not obviously, but he was a third baseman. And in Game 2, the score was tied 1-1. And in the 6th inning, Frank Baker stepped up, and he was batting cleanup behind Collins. And he stepped to the plate, and with 2 strikes, Marcaud, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Marcaud left a fastball over the inside part of the plate, and Baker turned on it and drove it in the right field seats for a tie-breaking 2-run home run. The A's had won 3-1, and the eventual series. The next day, Frank Baker, Homerun Baker, in the words of none other than the opposing catcher, the Giants' Chief Myers, in a first-hand account of Game 2 published in the San Francisco Examiner, which was kind of unique because both the A's and the Giants played in the San Francisco Bay Area, but not at this time. That's unique. I never knew that. That's kind of cool. Anyway, describe Baker's home run in great detail. Marcaud tried a fast one close inside. We now know, to our sorrow, That's just such a ball is exactly what Frank Baker would call for if he were given his choice of 100 different sorts. I watched him swing back, then lunge forward, and with the crack of a bat, I knew something was coming off. I looked over to right field and saw the ball going higher and higher against the background of those two brownstone houses on 20th Street. It must have cleared the fence by 10 feet. So he hits that home run in game 2, and he called him Homerun Baker because he had hit that majestic home run. Then in game 3, Frank Baker stepped up to the plate again, this time against Matty Matheson. He threw him a curveball, and Frank Homerun Baker hit another home run, and the A's went on to win in 11 innings. And that was actually Matheson's first World Series loss of his career. So that's a little background of Frank Homerun Baker. I really enjoyed, because his last name was Baker, because he played for the A's, I decided to start collecting his cards. So I'm going to show you some of these cards. We're going to do basically kind of what my channel is going to be. I'm going to talk about a player and maybe their stats, who they were, who they are, and then we're going to take a look. I'm going to try to do this properly, Hill. This first one is 1911 Reach Frank Baker. Now, I'm going to post this here on the screen real quick. Reach was a baseball like encyclopedia, and in 1911, somebody must have cut this out of the book and put it in here. Let me see if I can. So here is 1911 Frank Baker, and if you look on the back, you can tell it's from a magazine. It's like, you know, cut out of a book type thing. Next one is also 1911, very pivotal year for Homerun Baker. This is a T205 Homerun Baker. This is a rated good, or a number 2. Let's see, maybe if we get it this way, it's going to be, oh yeah, that's much better. This is good. This is a PSA 2. This is Frank Baker's 1911 card. Here's another 1911 card. This is a T201 Mecha double folders, and this is Frank Baker and Eddie Collins, and it's cool because they had these cards and they folded in half, obviously, hence the name. There's Frank Baker. I'll show you here. That's that card. And then here's one of my favorite sets. This is the 1915 Cracker Jack. Now this is rated a good. This is a rated 2. Let's see here, take a quick look. Here's Frank Baker's Cracker Jack card from 1915, which oddly enough, the back is upside down. Huh, I never realized that. Were they all upside down? That I don't know. Okay, now here is a 1920 W519 number 11. This is a Frank Baker card. I never had this one graded. Actually, the next two I had never had graded. So these were hand cut back in 1920. So there's nothing on the back. There's a 1923 W515 number 15. This is also Frank Homerun Baker. This is when he played for the New York Yankees. You can see here, New York. Again, a hand cut. And then here's a 1940 play ball. This is a very good 3 of Frank, and it even says Frank Homerun Baker. Because see, at that time, in 1940, they were like, hey, we could put home run on there. I'm not going to put them on the earlier cards, but here's that card right there. I have more stuff, but I can't find all of it. I know I've got it. I just don't know where it is. So with that, I think my helper here didn't really help. I think I covered everything. I don't know exactly what else I wanted to talk about. That was just part of my collection. But I think the next one will be a short starting Wednesday with the Topps Living set. And hopefully you guys will subscribe. You'll enjoy it. My goal is to meet actual players and talk about their rookie cards with them. Maybe go to spring training, talk with players about their cards. This whole channel is going to be about baseball cards, but in the sense of the baseball player themselves and the card they have, if that makes any sense. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is probably going to be one of the longer ones. The rest are going to be a lot shorter, but we appreciated Elizabeth, who is a new collector. I think one of the next episodes, we're going to open a box for you guys. Now, the 2023, Happy New Year, by the way, but the 2023 Topps doesn't come out till February. We're going to open that box for you guys. But one of my favorites is the Topps Pro Debut. I really enjoy the minor league cards. I get a box every year. I open them up with her. She is super lucky. Every time she opens, we have these little pack wars. She'll open a pack, I'll open a pack. She'll open a pack. She always pulls the autos, and she always gets like really good ones too. Like, it's really surprising. That's what you're going to get in the next one, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you soon. All right, take care, and thanks for watching.